Mining Indaba is the world's largest mining investment event. For 19 years, it's channeled billions of dollars of foreign investment into the mining value chain. Godfrey Mutizwa caught up with Jonathan Moore, who's MD of the Mining Indaba, and spoke to him about the context in which this year's event is taking place.
Yes, we've had a challenging year. I don't think anybody would deny that 2012 was a challenging year. However, the long-term prospects for this continent and this country still remain very, very strong. And I think we see that reflected in the dialogue that goes on at the Indaba, and certainly I think that plays into the attendance numbers and the figures that you just gave us.
Yeah, so this is good and this is also bad. In part, this is good because, of course, it shows the interest and the strength of the story that is here in Africa about mining. But at the same time, it does give complacency to government, doesn't it? Because never mind what's going on and what's happening. We don't need to do anything. Everybody will come here anyway.
I don't know that the government feels that way. I think the government views this as the platform to have those dialogues, and to have those dialogues specifically with mining CEOs and investors. And there are other dialogues, obviously, that take place, be they parliamentary or be they other government-level discussions that bring in other components of the stakeholder value chain. But here at the Indaba, we talk about the investment component of it. We bring together investors. That's the basis for this event, and it's part of the reason the platform has been such a good platform for 19 years.
Okay, so give us a breakdown of who is here. 1,800 companies, I said, and who is new, what's new on the table in terms on the agenda. But let's begin, of course, first of all, with the companies that are here and where you think they're here.
Sure. We have the world's foremost mining companies, Anglo-American, BHP, Rio Tinto, all the big names. We have added a number of different components to the program this year. We added 2 new pre-conference workshops, one that is an investor drill down to understand the commodities market and mining on the continent, and then a second one that focuses on the sub-Sahara African economy. Who's here? It's a great mix of mining ministers. We have ministerial representatives from 36 African companies, another 6 or 8 non-African ministry representatives. We have mining CEOs, obviously, all the service providers that wrap around anything to do with investment, be it financial services, legal, and then finally investors. And again, that's the core of the whole event. And all the networking that goes on and all the interchange is what makes the Indaba special and different than everything else.
Yeah. Before we take the conversation to Africa, let's just talk about what international investors are saying about South Africa, given particularly the events that happened last year around Marikana and also the whole host of the other issues, your costs, your labor unrest, and all these other things that are happening around South Africa. What's the view out there pertaining to South Africa?
I think the answer is it varies by investor. I think there are certain investors who have, obviously each investor has their own level of comfort with respect to how much risk they're willing to assume. Yeah. I think the Indaba becomes an interesting platform for them because if you're looking at investing in South Africa and you want to find out exactly what's going on, where better to do it when you can interact directly with mining CEOs, directly with the ministerial groups that are here. This platform gives investors an opportunity to kind of cut through what they read in the media, what they see, and get it straight from the source.
Yeah. So let's talk about the good news. Now, of course, I'm sure this was an easy sell for you. The story around mining in Africa. We know there's a boom going on the eastern side of the continent. We know there's also a boom beginning to happen on the western side. In terms of interest and in terms of focus areas, what are you seeing?
Well, I think we're seeing exactly what you've just described. The long-term underlying trend lines that drive this continent and drive mining on this continent haven't changed, have only gotten stronger. The supply and demand metrics that drive into this are fantastic, and the riches of this continent still have a long way to go before we get close to understanding the total magnitude of what they represent. So as the Mining Indaba has grown, it's been in proportion to the rest of the world waking up to what this continent has to offer.
Is there another day when perhaps this conference is going to be in Dar es Salaam, or it's going to be in Lagos, or it's going to be perhaps in Marrakesh?
You know, it's a good question. I'm not sure what the long-term future holds. I can tell you that it's tough to argue with Cape Town in February, and we have been truly blessed with respect to the participation of our host country and the wonderful people here and the fantastic convention center that we have. So no immediate plans to go anywhere but Cape Town.
Okay, so finally tell me, what's new on the agenda this year? I saw a few new items that you have added.
Yeah, the big thing were the pre-conference workshops. We've also added a number of additional non-African ministerial sessions. The commodities review obviously is a hallmark event, and then we have a number of special sessions that are new additions to the program that are specific to areas that are not necessarily covered by the mining companies on the main stage.